My stepfather said, "Now that you're 18, you need to find your own place to live." I replied, "Sure, whatever you say." What he didn't know was that I had been planning on sharing with him the trust fund I inherited from Mom, the one she kept a secret from him. Mom asked me to take care of him before she died, and I was going to honor that. But when I walked into the kitchen on my 18th birthday, exactly 2 months after Mom's funeral, my stepfather Roger was already waiting at the table with eviction paperwork. "Now that you're 18, you need to find your own place to live," he said, sliding a rental application across the table for some studio apartment in the worst part of town. He was drinking coffee from Mom's favorite clay mug, the one I'd made for her in 3rd grade. "I've already paid the first month and deposit. Consider that a favor." I just nodded calmly and said, "Sure, whatever you say," which seemed to confuse him. He'd probably expected tears, begging, maybe anger. Instead, I helped him plan the move, asking which boxes to use, what I could take. "Only your personal items," he clarified. "Everything else stays, and I'll need your house key before you go." The unsigned beneficiary papers in my backpack suddenly felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds. His new girlfriend, yes, he was already dating, called while we were talking, and he didn't even try to hide it, laughing about weekend plans while standing in Mom's kitchen. The moment I left Roger's house with my 3 pathetic boxes, I tore up those beneficiary papers and threw them in the first trash can I saw. If he couldn't wait even 2 months after Mom's death to kick me out, he didn't deserve a penny. I went straight back to Mr. Hendricks, Mom's lawyer, and claimed my full inheritance. I'd known about it for a week but hadn't touched it yet, planning to share it with Roger like Mom would have wanted. But Mom also would have wanted him to take care of me, not evict me on my birthday. Within 3 weeks, I found myself the perfect house, a beautiful 4-bedroom colonial just 2 houses down from Roger's on the same street. The elderly couple selling it had known Mom since her childhood club and gave me an incredible deal. "Barbara would be so proud," Mrs. Patterson said, tearing up as she handed me the keys. The best part? I scheduled the move-in for noon on a Tuesday, exactly when Roger would be coming home for lunch. The look on Roger's face when he pulled into our street and saw the moving truck in front of the nicest house on the block was absolutely priceless. He actually got out of his car and stood there staring as I directed movers carrying in my new leather sectional and 65-inch TV. The same moving company he'd hired to haul my 3 boxes to that Roach motel was now unloading a household's worth of premium furniture. "How?" was all he managed to say when he approached, his face turning red. I just smiled and said, "Mom taught me to save wisely." Then I went back to instructing the movers. He stood there for another 10 minutes watching, trying to process what was happening. The neighbors started coming out to welcome me, completely ignoring Roger standing on the sidewalk. That night, I could see Roger's silhouette in his window, staring at my house for hours. Within a month, it was like I'd always belonged there, while Roger became the neighborhood pariah. My neighbor brought me daily casseroles and invited me to her mahjong games. The Johnsons asked me to babysit their kids who started calling me uncle, and I took over hosting Mom's traditional 4th of July barbecue. Everyone came, sharing stories about her while pointedly ignoring Roger's house. He actually tried to crash the party, holding a beer like he'd been invited, but Mr. Johnson intercepted him at my property line. "This is for neighbors who actually cared about Barbara," he said loudly. He did the walk of shame back to his house as I just stared in silence. Then Roger's new girlfriend moved in 2 weeks later, but the neighbors made sure she knew exactly how he'd kicked out his dead wife's son 2 months after the funeral. She lasted exactly 1 week before I saw her throwing suitcases into her car while Roger stood on his porch, begging. The HOA president even asked me to join the board, specifically mentioning that Roger's application had been rejected 3 times. "We need more young people with your values," she said, loud enough for Roger to hear while he was getting his mail. As the months passed, Roger's isolation only grew worse. One evening, he knocked on my door, looking haggard and defeated. "I found a buyer for the house. I'm moving out of state," he said quietly, probably expecting me to rub the situation in his face. I just nodded and said, "Mom would want me to wish you well."